Hello and welcome everybody back once again to World of Racing. And tonight we're back for round 2 of the MX-5 League that we have running on here. And tonight, two very exciting circuits, one of which being the longest track that the GT3 cars, or International Continental GT Challenger, whatever series you want to talk about, runs at. It's going to be Road America, as well as a British classic in Oulton Park. But more on that in a little bit. I'm Mike Nostrum, and alongside me tonight is none other than the Sagar Bakshi. And Sagar, I could not be more excited for tonight. How about yourself?
I'm really looking forward to these pair of races that we have set up for us here in the Mazda MX-5s. It's going to be a hoot of a time. I'm definitely looking forward to more action at World of Racing.
Absolutely. With that, of course, tonight being the second round, we had last week's race being Thunderhill and Oran Park. So we've gone from Oran Park to Oulton Park. It's, you might say, a budget version. No, not quite. It's actually quite the contrary. This is going to be an absolute corker of a circuit that we have in store for us later on. But if you do remember, of course, Andrew is the man to keep an eye on for all of the races tonight. He finished in 20th or 19th position in race 1 at Thunderhill, but did take the first position in the next race. He qualified in the lead in race 1, but he was a little over exuberant on the loud pedal, drove himself off the circuit, and found himself plummeting down the order in the previous session. Hopefully this week, Sagar, we see a little bit different of a result, of course.
Absolutely. I think the drivers are going to be fairly keen with how the MX-5s drive around these circuits now. They're going to be fairly comfortable with the way that they behave underneath them. And also, we won't have the track limits violations so egregious, because Road America, of course, having pretty steep walls and barriers to keep yourself from going and cutting the track, and Oulton Park as well. Pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's sort of Monaco without the barriers, is a lot like to say, but with that, of course, well, for Oulton, that is, Road America, not quite, a little bit more of an overtaking chance there. But speaking of Road America, why don't we jump on down to the action and talk track? Back down into the action now. We can see all of these MX-5 and cars out on circuit right now, as all of the drivers start to get their lap times in. A 2:38.7 current pole position for Ali. Surprisingly, so that I sounded a bit surprised, and to be honest, Ali, not to say he's not a heavy hitter, but I certainly haven't seen him up at the top with this strength just yet. Andreas there just topping him off, but looking strong right now for the 36.
Wow, and what a grid of drivers that we have. We have Ali, Andreas, and then Andrew with his epic 2:37.2, nearly a second faster than the rest of the field. Timothy, Kai, Bradley, Donovan, Lloyd, Mark, Tommy, Freddie, Pauline, Jamie, Daniel, Ahmad, Josh, Tim G, Robert, Vincent, and Christian. Some new names to World of Racing, and some old familiar ones that I think we can all recognize.
Tim G being one of the fan favorites, of course. He's back out on track. He was a chat supporter in the previous race, watching all of it and then cheering on his favorite drivers as well. So lovely to see him out on circuit, back in action at World of Racing. The back end, very lively there for Timothy G, but he is going to be reeling it back down through the Briggs and Stratton, or under that sign, into turn 3. One of the potential overtaking spots that we're going to see for tonight. You got to be very careful not to run wide, not to take it too tight as well. But these MX-5 Sagar, they're punchy. They are, well, punchy might not actually be the right, they're the opposite of punchy, but they are punchy on the brakes for the long run. This is going to be the best overtaking chance you have down the hill here into the moraine sweep, or turn 5. Long, deep braking zone down towards the rough here. But again, got to be careful not to overshoot it. The grass is never far away.
That is very true. You get a little bit of extra runoff throughout some of these corners, but the grass comes at you very quickly, and it'll be awfully punishing. Not a lot of whole track limits violations to be had at Road America that we mentioned earlier. Basically, the edge of the road is where you start to get punished, and your lap starts to become a real problem as things move down the order.
Yeah, certainly so. And currently the lap time stacking up quite tightly. 5/10 separating the top two. Andrew and Ali up at the front right now. Andreas, though, not too far behind. A 238.2 with a 238.3 right behind Bradley. Another one of the heavy hitters to keep an eye on from the previous week. He had a solid result, finished first place in the previous, or in round one, or in race one, I should say, at Thunder Hill. And in race two, he then finished on third. So he's so far a double podium sitter. He's looking to make it a third one here potentially tonight, but right now down in fourth position, currently in the mix as well. Lots of 38s we're seeing.
That's true. And from the leader back, it's the 237.2 all the way back to a 28 or 38, excuse me, 0.9 down to P5. That'll be Kai. And then Timothy with his 39 also, and then a whole bunch of them. And then the 41 start with Daniel and then trickle their way back. Ahmad with a 240.0, and he's running fairly well. And yes, this track is pretty famous. I know IndyCar runs here as well as IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. And don't forget about the motorcycles. The Win Road America Battle always takes place annually here. So this is a great track to race on, no matter if you're on four wheels or if you're on two wheels.
It's a tough one, though. Lots of elevation to be had here. This is a circuit that initially started off as a scenic lake drive. Tim G taking the scenic route here tonight as well. And welcome along to Terrific Box, cheering Tim G on as well. We love to see the support. Let us know who your favorite driver is. Any one of these drivers on the left-hand side of your screen is a great choice. Currently, Andrew, fastest, best of the rest, you might say, in that 55 car, number 3 in the timing towers, but with a 236.8, unanswered by 9/10 of a second currently.
Pretty steep gap there between P1 and P2, between Andrew and Ali. But I remember what happened in race one, round one, where Andrew just pushed a little bit too hard early on and then ended up losing his car. That's the downside of being at the absolute limit of these Mazda MX-5s, is you never know when they'll turn around and bite you in the derriere.
No, and the reason that is, a lot of people, they look at these MX-5s and they say, oh, well, they're basically road cars, right? They're very simple to drive. After all, they're, in terms of power, much more comparable to a road car, rocking about 160 brake horsepower, about the same as my Toyota Camry. The 2.0 liter 4-cylinder engine, 6-speed manual gearbox, and a 0 to 60 in approximately 3 to 5 business days. That's if you're lucky, or otherwise known as about 6.0 seconds. Depending on where you're at, depending here on these downhills as well, to give them a nice little helping hand. But my favorite part of these MX-5s, like you said, Sagar, is the fact that you're constantly on a dance with death. It's a combination that you don't often experience when it comes to high downforce cars. A Formula One car, if you've driven that, you're not going to be feeling this crippling understeer followed up by violent oversteer. It's something that really only the quote-unquote slower powered cars get to experience, and the MX-5s are certainly one of those.
Absolutely. Driving these Sealed Sky Active 2-liter 4-cylinder engines, you wouldn't think that they packed so much of a punch, but it's really the Brembo 4-piston racing front calipers that really cause you to have that scare factor, let's say, because getting these things slowed down really is the challenge, and how much you need to slow down. And you can see how much Ahmad is pitching the car in, coming in towards turn 3. It looks like that thing is just doing a little bit of a nosedive under the compression zone.
Yeah, and that's going to be a very soft suspension for these cars, or even it is a quite balanced suspension, all things considered, but stiff relative to your car that you're going to be used to driving every day. This, though, is going to be a tight race. One thing I love about MX-5s, especially if you are a fan of the actual real-life MX-5 series, you know that they are bumper to bumper from the green flag. all the way through, we're going to be seeing action. And I wanted to hop on board here with one of our potential pole sitters as we do take a lap here, the longest lap in America, at least for one of the for the stationary tracks. 4 miles, 6.5 kilometers ahead of us here, and it's a long run down to turn 1 as you have that uphill zone, but then it flattens out. Good overtaking chance here if you are going to be commanding enough. It's a high-speed, high-commitment corner, though, as you chuck the car and run very wide there, as I'm not completely sure that was within track limits. Ali will have to find out when he reaches the flag, though. Into turn 3, another quite high-speed corner, so overtaking going to be challenging despite the fact that it is a not a hairpin, but a 90-degree turn to the right. Now, though, settle in, get your popcorn as we go through turn 4. You blink and you miss it. It's not really much of a turn. Down the hill, though, into the moraine sweep. Turn 5. Best overtaking chance here. It's a long braking zone downhill. The front end will not comply with you if you're not going to let it. A little deep there for Ali. Misses the apex. But now, back on the accelerator and get ready for turn 6 as it's quick and it's deceptive. Look at the amount of rotation required onto the accelerator early, using that back end to rotate the front. Sort of like a motorbike, if you really think about it. Very similar driving style through turn 7 now, down the hurry downs into 8, where you can send a cheeky move if you are bold enough, but it's going to be risky. There's not much room there. You can see to the inside, and it's very easy to have some door banging. Through the carousel now, turns 9 and 10, flat out in the MX-5. Maybe a bit of a lift as we come to the exit, but I presume no. Now easy flat here for these cars. Down through turn 11 now into the kink. Should be easy flat. Once again, maybe just a slight little lift. Hesitation there from Ali. I think this car should be planted enough to have a flat out through turn 11. And again, settle in for the long run through the kettle bottoms into the Canada corner. It's a long ways to go into the braking zone. Not much of a chance of an overtake. The runoff area here, easy to go deep. Another corner that's so. Now through the Thunder Valley into Bill Mitchell Bend, turn 13. And to the final corner, it's going to be the 14th and a long right-hander. Great setup opportunity if you can get a good enough run, but this is where we're going to see a load of slipstreaming, Sauger, and that is quite a long lap, all things considered, for an MX-5 at a 2:30. Looks like 7 maybe here. We'll see as we take a while to get to the line. It's going to be a 2:36.9, which is enough for second position.
2:36.6 from Ali. Just a couple of hundredths away from Andrew. That was a pretty great lap, and he's going to have at least one more crack at it before we get to the checkered flag. That was very, very impressive for him. And of course, because we're not running real penalty, the only track limits violations that drivers will get is when they go ahead and touch the grass. So using turn 1 and I believe that was turn 5's exit, you're able to use as much as you're humanly able to and capable of using, as well as turn 12 through Canada corner. It'll be as much as you're comfortable with using without going too far off and wide.
Cheeky. Here's Tim G, one of the fan favorites here, in 9th position. He just got bumped down by, I think it was Daniel. One of the two just snuck up into the top 10 from a little bit down below. Daniel on a flyer himself here, and we're looking at some of the final laps. Is that going to be invalid, Sauger, or is that going to be valid? What's your take?
That will be valid.
Okay, gotcha. That's just give you a rough idea there of what we're looking for. So it's going to be difficult to get a track limits penalty, is what or to get a warning and a lap time deleted, is what you're saying, Sauger, right?
Oh, extremely difficult. I don't think that there even are track limits violations here at Road America, because the grass is already going to slow you down so considerably. They just use that as the punishment line.
Gotcha. Makes sense. And Terrific Boxing, please don't watch Tim G, as every time we looked at him, he would crash. You know what? Call it a commentator's curse. You're not going to be one with us until you do have one. So he's part of the club now. We'll see if it does transition into the next week. It's sometimes gifted to some drivers, wherever when we look at them specifically, they'll crash. So it could be not Tim G that has that curse this week. You never know, or maybe he will.
And who knows, maybe it happened to Andrew during race 1 of round 1 last week, so you never know who it's actually going to fall onto. And even when we weren't looking at Andrew, it ended up bequeathing him. So we really don't have control over these great, powerful skills that we have as commentators. The curse just chooses who it pleases, and poof.
But it's more mysterious if you think that it does. Here, though, is Bradley coming to the line. He did not improve whatsoever in Sector 1. Now, Sector 2 brought him back to a second down from his best into Sector 3. Looking like no improvement here, and that's going to be the end of his qualification, done and dusted. Every driver that did set a lap previously and was not able to cross the line will not be able to start a lap, and any driver that was on a lap previously will be able to finish it. For the most part, I think there is a time limit. So if you did start one pretty early, you might not make it around. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see. And there goes Donovan actually into P5, the 238.3, and it's awfully tight through that mid pack. Look at all those 38s that you mentioned before. We've got at least 6 drivers in that range. And then Timothy with a 238.2 finds the best time in front of Andreas, the number 72.
Andreas down in 4th position, uncharacteristic there for him. Not a bad result, definitely, or to say the least. Through the final sector, most of these cars are going. I cannot quite find who they are because they're not associated with the number here, so we're trying to see. But of course, Ahmad up here improving wonders on his lap time. We'll stick with Ahmad here for the rest of his lap, as he's currently up about a second and a little bit. Is that going to be enough for pole position? No, but will it be enough to sneak him into the 37s? Well, Sagar, there's a big window available for him there. Not a single driver has made it in the 37s tonight. So Ahmad, I think, has a big open door. Let's see if he kicks it in.
Absolutely. He's up nearly 1.2 seconds on his previous lap and getting it to the line. Let's see if he does have it in the bag. He's doing a great job, and he does find that 37.999 though, so just barely sneaking into the 237s.
That's gonna count though. He's the only driver into the 237s thus far, and to be honest, looking like it's gonna stay that way. I don't see too many people that can make up any time right now. There's some drivers improving, but only just slightly. Not enough to really make that big leap. Bradley somehow is on a flying lap. I mean, he crossed the line after the 0 mark, but I guess, okay, that settles that.
Unfortunately, some drivers just did not get to finish their flying lap as the timer ran out. But we've got all 22 drivers, if I'm not mistaken, loaded up and ready to go for Mazda MX-5 Fight Night here with the World of Racing.
We also have some new chatters. We got Michael Zhao, a previous racer, also can now correct me if I'm saying his name correctly or not, Michael. I would really appreciate a proper working on that one. It is Michael Zhao, right? I think so, with the spelling there. But again, I'm open for corrections. But let's get into it here. We have Andrew on pole position, Ali alongside Ahmad in 3rd, and David bringing up the 2nd row. It's going to be 20 minutes on the clock for race 1 tonight. It's going to be 2 races ahead of us, but only 1 for this track. As we get ready here, the 6 red lights get to come on here at Road America, and the green flag will drop, and it's going to be a incredibly good start for Andrew in the front. Behind that, Ali going to be under threat potentially from Ahmad, but as the second phase gets underway, everybody with a fairly even go. Side by side though, down into the braking zone. It's going to be advantage for Ali more than likely, but yes, he does take the position. Ahmad behind, everybody else has to slot in besides David and Andreas, who are currently having a bit of a side-by-side bout. I think that's Andreas on the outside, and to the Timothy into the back now. He has to drop into single file order. There's a bit of bumping and banging in the background here as we go 3 abreast. Kai has been plummeting down the rocks here, and everybody else seems to be on their best behavior. We're green flag running here, but a potential overtake for Lee as we go down towards the best overtaking chance here into, oh goodness, 3 wide now, going to the braking zone. Something's got to give into the moraine sweep. Lee makes it through. Christian gets a bump in the back and then gets punched in the face violently by Lloyd, and everybody going to be making their way on through. Devastating on lap 1.
And that's what we get for saying that it was a green flag running and clean start, Mike Noss. Devastation and carnage going into turn 5, the first real big braking zone that the drivers had to deal with coming down the main straight. But it is mostly clean for all the drivers. Ali 6/10 off the good, and 6/10 back is Ahmad in that 3rd place spot. There's your first 3 front runners, and holy Toledo, that was a big kerfuffle. I think Paulina, Vicente, and Vincent got involved in that. But now everybody's running nose to stern for the most part, but not these two, Tim G and Tommy, going after it through the carousel. And when they get spit out, someone's going to have to give before we get to the kink. Who's it going to be, or will they manage to run side by side, nearly doing so? Tim G doing a great job of staying committed to that racing line.
Absolutely so. Also, Polina made that through like a bandit as well. Just missed the contact. So Polina, excellent reaction time, avoiding that Vincente and Vincent. There we go. We got there in the end. Incident as the 2 names with V end up clattering side panels here. Daniel and Josh switching positions as well. Daniel up into 9th now. Our lead battle, not much of a battle, to be honest here. Ali, I think, is just playing the strategic card right now, waiting for Andrew to make a mistake, to plow a hole through the air as well, so he can just get that crucial slipstream, that crucial saving, and allow squabbling in the background as Andreas here, somebody who's very out of position, dropped down the order quite a bit, is looking to make moves. He smells blood in the water, round the outside. It's full send baseball, and he's on the outfield. Can he make it stick? Not quite just yet. Donovan still giving him quite the hard time, and it's going to be advantage Donovan into turn 3, but Andreas commits, and it's what a move from the 72. Now Donovan 3 wide as Daniel and Josh are trying to dice him up for a move. Daniel, though, has the slipstream from Andreas, the man who just took it. Donovan, though, no help or any assistance to the braking zone. Now into the marine sweep to the inside. Donovan trying to take the position back from Andreas. Andreas overcooks it. Everybody's gone in too deep. It's bumping, banging, and clattering in every which way, and I'm not sure who you would call at fault for that.
Great 2x2 battle. Unfortunate the way it ended by going a little bit too deep, headed down in towards turn 5, but that was amazing all the way side by side, 2x2 from 1 to turn 4, and then coming into turn 5. Tears for fears there for just a few of the drivers as they just went a little too deep, overcooking it, getting a little too overconfident there. And now side by side continues between Josh and Andreas. Andreas on the inside line, Josh to the outside line, driving the purple number 7, it looks like. And now who's going to hold on? And it's going to be both of them going side by side in through the kink. Someone's got to give, though. The number 23 of Josh manages to hold on the outside, does a great job, but this is going to drag Kai into this. Or excuse me, who is that? Josh, Andreas, Daniel. Daniel now getting the over-under completed, and who's going to cook it going into Canada corner? It's going to be side by side between the two of them. And now the purple car, the number 23 of Josh, seems to go a little too far off, and that's going to slow his rundown. Now coming through the Thunder Valley section in the Mitchell Bend. And now they're going to come into the final corner, turn 14, a little bit of argy-bargy. The number 23 bumping and banging with a number 29 car. And this is where things are going to get spicy. The side draft, the slipstream. There's no DRS on these little Mazda MX-5s, but they're going to go wheel to wheel all the way down towards turn 1, Mike.
Down here, potential 3 abreast opportunity, and it's going to be Daniel in the background, but Andreas somehow has gained the most out of all of this, and now as we see positions changing left and right, 3 abreast contact ensues, and that's going to be on Daniel and Josh making contact. Andreas slipping through there like an otter in the river. Now, Kai, you mentioned him just a little bit ago. He says, well, thank you very much. Everybody making their moves while they have, well, no real competition. Kai gets the best of Josh and Daniel due to their little clattering there under the Sargento cheese board. The battle rages on. Josh going to be seeing red now, and that's going to be the inside line. Who's going to commit? Okay, well, fair enough. We're going to be well ahead before the braking zone, but comes Kai back to the inside. Sends it a little deep, though. Kai, I think, is going to be hard-pressed to keep that on circuit, but he does. Keeps all 4 tires within the tarmac. Position held, but now from the background, Josh making Kai look. That's not really a full attempt, but it's certainly unsettled Kai. Not the best chance, though, to make any sort of move.
Not on this occasion, but just scratch that and hold my beer, because through the hurry down side by side between Josh and Kai, nothing separating the 2 drivers. The 61 leads of Kai, and we're on board now with Josh, the number 23, involved with that kerfuffle there going in towards turn 1 on a bit of a recovery drive, sitting in 9th place now. And coming around the carousel, he's going to have the overspeed leading towards the kink. Will he make a look towards the inside line? I think he will do. He's got a wheel well fully present there. And now they're going to go completely side by side through the kink. And now the 23 holds onto the inside and carries his speed and momentum. A little bit of bumping and banging from Kai into Daniel, as Daniel's trying to get involved in this 3-way squabble as we approach Canada corner.
And down to the inside now, we're going to see Kai in the gold, trying to go for the gold, but it's going to end up almost in tears. Josh gets clipped there by the number 61. Thankfully, he managed to wrestle it back on circuit and keep the damage to an absolute minimum. Daniel keeps his position as well, 9th now, and Kai in 8th. I do suspect these positions are going to swap around, though, quickly. And, well, looking a little bit further ahead, potentially we're going to see another move from Timothy here. Is actually, no, he's locked bumpers with Bradley. These 2 seemingly working together for the time being. Let's see if that holds true, though, down to the inside of turn 1, and I think it is. These 2 have found a little bit of a partnership out on circuit, but only temporary, for sure.
And that's the smart thing to do at this stage in the race. It's still a long time remaining, 11 and a half minutes left on the clock, folks. So working together, giving your teammate or your ally a little bit of bump draft to get them the hurry up that they desperately need, rather than fighting it out, will prevent you from falling back. And look at the gap that Timothy and Bradley have found, 3.1 to Andreas in the background.
Side by side, though, now down into turn 5 through the Moraine sweep. Timothy is done with the bump drafting shenanigans, and he wants to put the shoe on the other foot now. Not going to succeed, though. Has to back out. It was a very committed move, but kept it under control. That's where, of course, having that maximum run area, or the big space on the track, that's why it's the best chance to make a move, is because you can mess up a little bit as well, and it's not going to punish you, unlike this upcoming corner. Down through the hurry downs and into turn 8. No semblance of a move there, Timothy. He knows better. He's not in any hurry right now, as he would like to eventually catch up with David in 4th position. But for right now, it's about the micro objectives. Just try to work together. Don't battle with anyone, to be honest. Don't battle with Bradley, because Andreas is lurking in the mirrors, and he has been gaining quite rapidly.
Yeah, and he's gaining a little bit of time there, about 0.3 of a second on that previous lap, but that's all due to the Bradley and Timothy battling that's been going on. Battle for 9th and 10th between Josh and Daniel yet again. Here's another squabble between them right now, and it's brewing up at the same place we saw it brew up last time, coming down through the kink and into Kettle Bottoms, and now into Canada corner, finally. Will the move get completed by the car from behind? Another bump for the 23, and this time the 29 yields and gives that position back. Those tires are definitely going to be worse for wear.
Yeah, not only that, the car at this point is going to be a little bit worse for wear, as Josh has been clattered every which way to Sunday, and well, it's currently a Wednesday, so he is not having the greatest week as it stands in the 23, down in 9th position, holding on. Got to give credit there to Daniel for waiting. He knew that he was at fault, and just a little bit of a miscalculation in the braking zone. These cars, they have such long braking zones, and that being, of course, very easy to misjudge when you are trying to focus on the car ahead. You get a little tunnel vision, you might say, and end up tunneling into their, well, rear bumper, as we saw. Josh, not too worried about it, though. He'll give a shout to the other side of World of Racing and say, heck, I don't really care. And fair enough. He's just going to look forward and move on, as do the drivers up front. Ahmad, by the way, Mr. Consistent as of recent here, he is currently in 3rd position, but David closing in rapidly.
Yeah, David's only 7/10 away from a podium points paying position right now, and Ahmad 7/10 away from Ali out in front, but the big gap up at the front is 3 seconds from Andrew to Ali himself. And then that battle between Timothy and Bradley lurking in the background. And there's 7 seconds off the good from these drivers. And I believe that should be lap traffic that they're trying to contend with right now. The number 36 further down the order.
Also, Michael in chat saying it's Michael Chu. I appreciate that, the correction. I will make sure that I remember that for the next one when you do show back up. For anyone interested as well in getting involved here, if you guys are in the Tustin or Pasadena areas or in Kansas City, Kansas, and you are loving this action here, like this side-by-side that we see for 2nd place between Ollie and Ahmad, do head on down to your local World of Racing. It's a thrilling time. You got Sigma Interglade motion simulators and the works, and here is Ahmad making it through on Ollie. David trying to follow suit. In fact, I think he's trying to go 2 for 1 potentially, but you got to be careful. You can't have your cake and eat it too, or can you? Ahmad makes a mistake, gives the position back to Ali. David finds himself gaining 1. Now, though, his next victim is going to be the other 36, the sister car of Ali.
And excuse me for mentioning earlier, I thought that was a back marker. No, not at all. This is a 3-way squabble for the remaining points paying positions on the podium. And this is an amazing fight, Mike Noss. Beautiful call there coming in through Canada Corner and then down through the final couple of sectors. Thunder Valley, Bill Mitchell Bend, and in through turn 14, and now headed down the start finish straightaway. Side by side, the 36s are basically trying to mount each other and with their wheels, holy smokes. And this is going to be completely 3 wide going in towards turn 1. And there's a little bit of touching side by side action is going to rage on, though. The 236s, that'll be Ali and David. David now gaining 2nd position overall as we head down in towards turn 3. Who's going to hold on to that inside line? David's desperately trying to hold on somehow, some way. He's still managing to carry on to that lead. Ali now losing a position to Ahmad in the background. We might go 3 wide again in towards turn 5. This will be first through the first 5th corners that we're going to continue this side-by-side action, in the green car sticking its nose in between. That's the number 29 of Ahmad, doing a great job to try to get an over-under snap back, but he's going to run a little bit too wide there into turn 5.
Like water off a duck, he runs off the track and now is faced with a side-by-side as Ali sends it down to the inside of turn 6. Makes it stick like glue, though the battle not done by any means as Ahmad looks in the slipstream. Ali, he looks like a very tasty morsel right now as Ahmad smells blood in the water. You often hear that 1 is the loneliest number, but currently this is absolutely electric. Well, 1 is the loneliest number. Andrew is walking away in the sunset smiling, to be completely honest, but David here is giving it all he can to take home the podium. He was down in 4th when we reached this battle, but the climax is yet to come as we see Ali under pressure from Ahmad, the long way round the kink and down into the kettle bottoms. I don't know how Ali is going to make this work, but it's going to be due to massive overspeed if it's going to. Ali going to have to fend it back late on the brakes, but no, Ahmad is able to get the move done when the getting gets tough, and David is the one to benefit from all of this now. 0.8 of a second to Ahmad, but again, do not count this man out. He will be right back onto David's rear bumper quicker than a quick thing in Quicksville, and this three-way fight is sure to resume with 4 minutes left.
Yeah, and we're gonna only get two more laps out of this by the looks of it, Mike Noss. This one plus one more, and then it'll be race concluded. The driver is running around 238s, 239s right now, especially in this front running pack. And it's going to be side by side coming down in towards turn one. Ali and Ahmad now going side by side, but the 36 goes through and way too deep. And now the 29 follows in single file line, it looks like. But will he snap back going in towards turn three? I don't think so. 36 of David leads the charge, and he is happily smiling from ear to ear right now, but it's only a 0.5 gap back to Ali. And this is surely going to change over the next lap or two, Mike.
Oh, absolutely. The one thing that we're seeing here is just how powerful the slipstream is for these MX-5s. Looking at now into turn 5, down the main sweep, the outside line this time for Ahmad, but it's no dice to be found unless Ali. What a save as he wrestles the octopus back onto circuit. He loses the position, but regardless, that was an incredible catch. When these cars go, it's not uncommon to overcorrect them, and they will just snap you into oblivion. Ali, all things considered, they're just losing about a second. That is going to be, well, quite a save. Ahmad, he picks up the scraps though and gains up into the bottom step of the podium, and there's David running wide and now to the outside of the carousel. Ahmad, the track's gonna fall away from him as he's on the offline. The marbles not going to help him out, but if he can keep himself alongside for long enough, he might be able to just gain enough momentum, hold the racing line as they clatter into the A-pillar. Both drivers though holding fast, and when Armageddon strikes, I want to be in a bunker made of either one of these three men's face, because they are built like a brick house. Ahmad under threat from Ali now to the inside. David has nowhere to go but into the background, and Ali 2-for-1 special. He says thank you very much.
And this is what we paid to see, folks. This is true Mazda MX-5 racing at its finest. A little bit of bump drafting, a little bit of sending here or there, and positions getting lost left, right, and center, but gained back with a hearty advance. Now it looks like Ali leads over Ahmad. David, lurking in the background, was P2 at the start of this previous lap and now is tumbled down into 4th place, but it's not over yet. The fat lady hasn't sung yet. 1 minute and 30 seconds left on the clock for a 2-minute 30-second lap. We've got this one lap left to go. The white flag is waving.
Whoever's leading onto the next straight, I think, is going to be in the worst position. And Ali takes the inside line away from Ahmad, and Ahmad going to be sent on now by David. This is the only real opportunity that I think Ali has to hold on to this position, but David going to be making the moves now, and he gets it done into 3rd. Ali runs wide. He needed this exit. A little bit of a clatter from the back there. Ahmad giving him the hurry up, but David gets by Ali. The exit was not good enough. Now though, the final real overtaking braking zone. It's not done though. This is going to be an all-out war between these three. David commits to the inside, holds turn 5, but he gets a little unsettled on the mid-corner. He hits the inside curbs. That concertinaed Ali or Ahmad into the back bumper. He made contact. Now Ali finds a free position with the momentum. It's back to the inside though goes Ahmad. He is not giving this up. This is an absolutely electric battle between these three. This is the, if anything, a picture perfect one for World of Racing. Through the final corner complex, really not really, actually, it was why we go through the carousel. Not really any chance for Ollie. He's gonna have to set up the exit now in the run on the back, not so straight. The overtaking chances are light, but he's going to have to make it stick. David, has he placed himself in the position and perfectly? Maybe. Or has Ollie gone too deep and into the barrier? He's overcommitted. There goes Ahmad to the inside through the back kink, and he's gonna make it stick down through the kettle bottoms into Canada corner. The outside line picked. David fends it back as he shoves his rival to the off. Ahmad keeps his foot in it, not giving up. Our leader now coming onto the start-finish straight, though. I cannot take my eyes off of this battle because something's got to give. They're giving it their all. Ahmad, is he gone too deep? David to the inside. Another bout of contact. Ollie is certainly going to have the advantage. Andrew crosses the line to take the win for the round 2, race 1. But this battle finally coming to a conclusion at the checkered flag, and it's going to be David, Ollie, and Ahmad in that order.
Amazing battle for the remaining podium positions. Absolutely wonderful bout of MX-5 fight night here at World of Racing, and the headquarters doing a great job of showing us why they picked this car and track combo side-by-side battle, getting it to the line. Holy Toledo! Josh just nearly pips Christian, and Daniel separated by 16 thousandths, getting it to the line. Holy smokes, another wonderful battle for the top 10. And then Tim G coming down in 13th, Lloyd, Vincent, Tommy, Mark, Robert, and Freddie and Vicente in your top 20.
Christopher down in 21st, Polina 22nd, Jamie coming home in 23rd. We have Yoshito in 24th, and Donovan P25. Last but not least on circuit. Ahmad, Ollie, David, battle of the century. These three locked horns from the word go. And my goodness, what a ding-dong battle these three managed to put on for us. And it really just allowed Andrew to walk away by 13 seconds, which, more power to Andrew for not getting tangled up on that. But wow, what a show they put on for us.
Yeah, really amazing. It was a fantastic round 2 here at Road America. This was absolutely fantastic. And this is absolutely what we pay to see. Not really, but this is what we love to see, really. I mean, this is indicative of just every good MX-5 race you've ever seen, and the drivers were definitely well equipped to handle the undulations of Road America tonight.
Certainly was. Let's go back to the host cams here. Welcome back, everybody. As we are gonna get ready here, we'll talk track a little bit and talk about the race here, but we will have a brief little intermission so the drivers get a cool down before we get ready to head towards Oulton Park. More on that track when we do return. But for now, Andrew, David, Ollie, your top 3. And if I'm not mistaken here, actually, let me just check my notes. No. So we were looking, or I was looking at... Who was I looking at? What am I doing here? David. Yes, David is who I was looking at. So David now getting his second podium of the week, or of the series, I should say. He finished in 3rd in race 1 at Thunder Hill, now finishing 2nd in this. But Andrew looking very, very dominant and hard to stop. It is certain to say, Sauger.
Absolutely. When Andrew's race goes right, he's been unbeatable. When it goes wrong, though, it's really gone wrong for him, and he has not been able to recover. So I'm excited to see how Andrew ends up faring in race number 2 of tonight, of round 2, where we head to Oulton Park. And it'll be super exciting to see how he manages to navigate a little bit of a tighter track, a little bit of a twistier track, and that'll be Oulton Park again with the chicane. That'll be awfully confusing for some of the drivers because we've gone from such a wide berth of track space to something that's quite narrow and punishing when you do get onto the grass.
Yeah, especially through Britain's, these MX-5s, there's a big curb that they're going to have to deal with. We'll be seeing that once we get more into qualifying these cars, though. That would not be surprised if they would take flight there pretty easily. And then, of course, through Hislops as well, it's going to be very tricky. These cars, though, they're good on the rotation, so they should be able to manage. This is actually going to be one of the better tracks, I think, for MX-5s in terms of close racing, in terms of eventfulness, although it's going to be pretty hard to top Road America, it is to be said.
I think you put it right. This race is going to be eventful. Eventful good, eventful bad, time will tell, but it's definitely going to be an eventful one here at Oulton Park in the next 10 minutes or so. And boy, oh boy, am I here for it.
Absolutely. And with that, folks, we are going to take a short little break. In the meantime, enjoy the beats by Chris Laronde, Laronde_alpha on SoundCloud if you guys are interested. But we will be back very shortly. Go get some popcorn because this race is going to get exciting. And welcome back, everybody, to World of Racing. We're going to be heading on down to round 2 here tonight, or round 2, race 2, Oulton Park. Ahead of us, we're going to be going from the Americas over the pond to the Britons, which is also one of the corner names as well here in the chicane that we were talking about before we cut to the break. This is a tough track, Sauger. When it comes to overtaking, especially in the higher downforce cars, you're going to have quite a hard time. But with the tight, twisty nature and with these little punchy cars, we're on for a very exciting race here, aren't we?
Absolutely. Like Mike Noss mentioned just a moment ago, ready to Cheshire, one of those, one of those, England, for 17 corners, 6 to the left and 11 to the right here around Oulton Park. 141 feet of elevation, and one of the iconic corners, Knickerbrook, one of my favorite corner names out there.
It is, and yes, indeed, it got the name how you expect it, how it got its name. If you are familiar with what that term means, it was, in fact, yes, there was a pair of knickers found in a brook, which a brook to our American viewers is a little creek, basically, and a pair of knickers is a pair of underwear. I'll let you fill in the blanks on what happened, but this used to be a World War II tank base? No, I'm thinking of Donington, aren't I? This used to be, I don't think this was a World War II. No, this is one of the few British tracks that had no World War II heritage. It used to have Oulton Hall that was here, which was held by the Egerton estate. And the family there, they renovated it over the years, and eventually it burnt down. And so they were like, heck, let's make a racetrack instead. It's a logical conclusion, in my opinion. Heck, why not?
Absolutely, and thank goodness for that unfortunate accident, and we were blessed with Oulton Park, founded in 1953, more or less unchanged since 1954, and it is an amazing venue to be at. And actually, American heavyweight champion boxer Joe Louis put on several exhibition bouts for the troops garrisoned at Oulton Park.
So there were troops garrisoned, so it did have World War II heritage. Now I need to find out what its World War II heritage is, because for the most part, for anyone that is unfamiliar with the British racing tracks, pretty much every single one of them was involved in World War II as a either hangar base, a tank base, stationing troops, apparently, as it might have been a training facility. I don't know what this was used for. Let us know, chat. Do you know? That's your homework now. What exactly was Oulton Park used for during World War II? Because I'm curious, but 17 corners, 6 to the left and 11 to the right is the current track layout that we have. And with that, of course, comes some pretty dicey corners. The Shell Oil hairpin, we're going to see a lot of cars driving off circuit. In fact, you know what, Sauger? Why don't we quit blabbing on here about the circuit, and why don't we head on down to the track and take a look at it instead?
Let's go ahead and do so, Mike.
Down to circuit, here we are with the Mazda MX-5s ready for round 2, race 2 here at Oulton Park. And there we can see a bit of a spinner, Freddie. Not quite making the best of his lap times just yet, and that is going to be an invalid one for the books. Currently, Andrew Janis, pole position with a 155,000. That, Sauger, is the equivalent of going to the grocery store and having it ring up on an even dollar amount. That doesn't happen every day, does it?
No, it's very rare that you'll see it, almost as rare as seeing that 999 that we saw in that previous session. And it looks like Andrew's coming through Britain's now, and will be coming into a bit of a tire barrier, it looks like.
It does certainly look like a tire barrier, I'll be honest. That is a great model here. I will admit the track does look brilliant. That tire wall looks interesting. Of course, Tim G here looking to set his first or second flying lap of the night. He's currently a 10th ahead of David, and not looking at improving on this one either. David, though, also not quite looking at improving. Where is he? Yes, he is up in the second position with a 55.8, and this, Sauger, gives us a great chance to go on board for a lap here at Oulton Park.
Yeah, it is, and coming down through the first couple of corners in through the Old Hall, the Avenues, and Dentons, in through Cascades and into Lakeside and the Island Bend, and all the way down towards Shell's Oil Corner. It's going to be pretty much flat out for this second section of the racing circuit. And going into Shell's Oil Corner, the braking zone is going to be extremely difficult to get right, but just one downshift of the gear from David seems to be working out well for him, and pumping it all the way back up as we get ready for Britain's. Now, Britain's is going to be awfully tricky. You're going to want to get your car into as straight line as possible, and he does a great job of doing so, and on the exit getting it again into one of those straight lines and punching out of there. He could have used a little bit more track on the exit, but deciding to keep a little bit more conservative as he does have traffic in front of him. Now coming into Hislop, another chicane that you just got to get straightened out as much as possible, and a little bit of a steering wheel correction coming through there. And now through Knickerbrooks, don't want to hit the bollard, otherwise you'll invalidate your lap. The 07 out in front of Bradley, dipping and diving and dodging out of the way. And then there's another car that spun across the circuit, and David's going to have to try to make up some more ground, as Sector 1 was not a huge improvement for him. And coming around the Druids corner, clattering with a purple number 23, and that is going to end his lap time.
Paulina. I'll just be the first one to say here in the future, check your mirrors, be the best piece of advice on the rejoins. That it was very unlucky. Thankfully for David, I don't think he was improving on that lap. He's not going to be too upset. It is what it is. Paulina will have to be taking a trip back down pit lane to get that damage repaired. Now, though, there's one thing that I noticed on this layout in particular of the Assetto Corsa version that we're using, or this current version of this. So typically on a lot of circuits with this chicane coming up, I just want to point out, if you take a look to the inside, you'll see a tire barrier. That is sometimes there, depending on what simulator you're on. Sometimes it's runoff area, sometimes it's clear. We're going to see cars hit that wall tonight. I'm just going to go out on a limb. We're going to see a lot of cars hit that wall tonight. Side by side through that corner with that wall there is not an option. If anyone even, I think, goes as far as attempting it, good luck. That's all I have to say to the drivers. And as for those little walls, Sauger, are those red and white, like candy cane tire barriers, are those movable or are those solid?
I am not sure. I haven't driven Oulton Park in quite some time on a set of course. I cannot remember if you can actually drive through them or if they're all solid barriers, Mike.
Well, I'm sure we'll find out at some point tonight, more than likely on lap 1. So, hopefully those ones are destructive without damage. I think they are, but we'll see. They might just even be clippable. Because that's a good question, because does Assetto Corsa actually have little, like, physics cones and, like, polystyrene boards that can move?
I don't think so. If you have ever driven at Laguna Seca, you'll know that one of the first cones there on Laguna Seca, if you hit it, will skyrocket you like a rocket ship into the sky. It is pretty hilarious to try to cut the turn 1 as much as possible and then just go flying into the air. So, not that I'm aware of, Mike. So those red and white pylons that are there are pretty much just going to be stationary objects that will never go away for any of the drivers. But the red and white, candy cane tire barriers, I think those might be permanent fixtures.
That's certainly going to be unfortunate, as is that curb for Donovan. He has found a little bit of a bump in the road, and that's going to send him off careening into the grass, where he will have to try again to set another lap. That car didn't look fully in shape either, so I'm wondering if he hit a wall at some point. We do have 25% damage on for this race tonight, so not too worried about any bumps, scrapes, or bruises. The MX-5s, they in general can take some clattering. They don't have any of those little sticky outy bits, the canards, the wings, the diffusers, or any sort of splitter or anything like that. These things, Saga, they're about the raw mechanical grip.
Yeah, they are. It's all about the mechanical grip here. Not much you can change in these Mazda MX-5 cars, but the things you can change are all related to the mechanical grip that you can develop. So ARB, suspension, dampers, things like that, your wheel alignment, very mechanically based things. You're not going to be affecting the aero package. You're not going to be affecting rake very much. Those types of things, throw them out the window. But mechanical setups, yeah, that's something you're going to have to set up properly.
Bradley looks like he set himself up quite well here for a potential fastest lap. Currently, Andrew Janis, 154.0, but Bradley coming up from the background. Are we going to see him crest on to the pole position here? Going through Deer Leap onto the line, and it's going to be an invalid lap, it looks like, for Bradley.
Unfortunate to get an invalid lap. He was rather rapid, and at 154, it looks like he might only get one more crack at it, potentially this lap plus one more.
Yeah, he should get 2 laps here, but is he going to get held up by traffic on this one? Looks like it. This is going to be another lap that he probably will have to abandon unless this car gets a hurry up or maybe even makes a mistake in this corner coming up. I'm not sure who this is necessarily, but they're certainly lacking on pace relative to Bradley. Through the Shell Oil corner, Bradley washes wide that lap. He just needs to abandon, find a nice clean spot of tarmac on the with some open air, and worry about his final flying lap, because this is done. I mean, he is losing and bleeding time in every single corner. Just give it up and find some space, or just go around, or just get teleported back to pit lane.
Or do that. I was going to ask you, when you're stuck behind another car, Mike Noss, during your qualifying session, you're down to your final 2 laps, what do you think is the best course of action to take? You mentioned getting out and into clean air, abandoning your second to last lap. Obviously, that's if you're not on a flyer. What are some of the stipulations to giving some people that advice?
Oh, even if you are on a flyer, who cares? From back in my karting days, this is one thing that basically especially even just at any point where I learned, and even teaching younger karting kids when I was teaching class, as soon as you see anything like that, either a yellow flag or someone getting involved in your lap, just abandon it. Don't let your pride get in the way. And I especially wanted to preach that because yellow flags is one of the main things that I would teach that with, as well as, of course, don't ignore yellow flags as soon as you see them. Just abandon your lap. Who the heck cares if it is what it is? But here in racing, we have a little bit bigger tracks, so not quite the most applicable in that rule, but still, don't avoid yellow flags. Lift through the sectors, people. Don't go flat out. But if you do find yourself encroaching a fast or a slower car, you just shouldn't be doing that in general. You should have already placed yourself on a spot in the track where you don't have to worry about that. But all things considered, people spin, they end up on the track. Sometimes you get people in front of you that you didn't plan on being there. They come out of pit lane right in front of you. It is what it is, right? And you have to deal with that. But at the end of the day, just back off, because as I said, if you have your lap time ruined, it's already ruined. You're not going to make it back up just because you push a little bit harder. You're not going to gain that time back. Give it up and let your last lap be the good one.
Yeah, that's a great point of advice. Thank you very much for kind of giving everybody that suggestion there, Mike, because it's hard to make that determination when you're driving behind the wheel of a car. In my opinion, it's really hard to really kind of get sucked into, okay, thinking about self-preservation, thinking about other drivers is super hard as well. So it's really smart to be able to think about this in a objective way and say, just give up your lap and live to fight another day.
Yeah, exactly. And don't let your pride get in the way is my biggest shout. And for me, it's never been that difficult for me. Like I say, as soon as it happens, you say, whatever, who cares? It wasn't my lap. But now on the final lap, for example, what just happened to Bradley, it's a bit frustrating. There's nothing you can do. It is what it is at that point. You just have to say, well, it's how the cookie crumbles. Let's see how the cookie crumbles, though, for David. It's looking like a good lap. 3/10 up into Sector 2 and crossing the line. Here, are we going to see a new pole sitter? No! By 60 thousandths of a second, Andrew Janis holds on over David. Christian in third. He will not be improving either. Checkered flags out. Ignacio in fourth. Daniel fifth. And Bradley finishing off in sixth with Ollie seventh. Donovan eighth. Timothy ninth. And Tim G making the top 10.
Amazing job for all the drivers to make it through on this qualifying session. Ahmad in 11th, Lloyd in 12th, Lee in 13th, Josh in 14th, Andreas, Tommy, Vicente, Vincent. They got to get away from each other, Vicente and Vincent. I swear, that's getting too much of a tongue twister for me. Getting Christopher and then Robert rounding out the top 20.
Oh, apologies on that. I'm muted, so everything's fine, but Vincent down in 17th. We'll see if he can improve. Has one corner left to go through Lodge into Deer Leap. No dice. That's going to be quali over.
Amazing drive for all the drivers. They're doing a good job of keeping it pretty clean, but will the race go anything like we saw our qualifying session? And I take that back. We actually saw quite a bit of kerfuffling going on during that race or during that qualifying session. And I think that's just indicative of what we'll see during the race session as well, as the drivers are all gridded up and ready to fight their way forward.
Yeah, these MX-5s often breed a kerfuffle from time to time. And Andrew, just looking at these times here with that pole position lap, I find it hard to believe that he is going to be not caught up, or he's going to be walking away. David, though, on the other hand, we saw our top 6 minus Andrew within 1/10 of each other. They were all very close in the margin. So Ignacio, Christian, David, Daniel, and Bradley are going to be the ones I'm keeping my eye on. But here we go, folks. It's going to be 6 lights on as Andrew Janis rounds pole position, and green. The go is quite good here for Andrew. To the outside, David's going to have to contend, but he's going to have to settle more than likely. Christian, though, under threat potentially from Ignacio? No, everybody settles in up front very handedly. It's going to be down towards Timothy and Ali, where the action starts, down towards Cascades. This is not necessarily a corner. You want to go side by side, and it's easy to end up in the grass, but Timothy, he wants to find some ground. Lap 1 is the easiest time to make up positions, and he wants to find some. Ali ahead, moving left and right. Timothy, though, pulls to the side here. I'm not sure it's a restart. It must be a restart. Whoops, and we go back to the host cam, folks. Welcome back.
Alrighty, there must be a restart of the race as we saw drivers peeling off the racing circuit. Something must not have worked out right there on the restart that the admins were happy with. So we'll have to give that another crack at it. before we get back into the session, and it was looking pretty good. Andrew on P1, David in P2, Christian in third, Ignacio in fourth place. And then Daniel, Bradley, Timothy, Ali, Donovan, and Tim G. That'll round out your top 10.
Indeed. Now we're just hopefully getting back into the server here as everything is on fire in front of me right now, but we're fixing it. We're fixing it, folks. Let's hope that we can get back in. I think we're going to be all good to go, and hopefully I'm not missing anything. What the actual heck? Okay. What is happening? Let's get into it, folks.
Let's get right into it.
Here we go. As the lights go on, we're going to re-rack them and restack them, and then we are going to restart once more here. Oh my goodness, what is going on?
That's Mike Knox's car.
This is me. 62. This is my car upside down on circuit alongside Jamie. What is going on? Here we go again. Okay. Andrew on pole position, David alongside. 6 red lights are going to go on, and we are gonna go green. We are not going green just yet. The suspense is building, folks. What has happened, Sagar?
I think we've gone green, but I think the drivers were probably all instructed to just wait. As you can hear drivers revving their engines in their stalls. I think that's what's going on, is drivers are just waiting for the actual restart to take effect.
Yeah, I don't have a timing tower.
That's because no one's changed positions yet.
Okay, got you. We apologize, folks. We're figuring this out live here. As you can see, all of the fans to the outside, they got their cameras ready to roll here. For when the action does go green. I'm just hoping this isn't my end.
Camo as well.
You're right, there's yeah, look at that. Where is he though? I can't see him. I only see his pants.
I only see his pants and his arms and his head.
Yeah, his torso is missing, unfortunately. You absolutely hate to see. There's also a nice, lovely there's your grandma off to the side there in the background. Brought the family out there. You got the kids as well. It's brilliant modeling. I think so. You can't see my mouse cursor, chat, but Sagar can. I think there. I think
that's just the light pole.
No, there's a what do you mean? There's a person right there, Sagar, in the pink shirt.
Oh! I thought you were saying the person behind that person.
No, yeah, the person in the pink shirt with a coat.
That might be Grandma.
We're gonna go back to host cams, folks. Welcome back to the host cams. Well, here's some MX-5s revving in the background here. While we figure out what's going on.
Why don't we get a quick update on what's going on? But I think that we're just waiting for the server to reset one more time, and we'll get rolling yet again, folks. But other than that, pretty much status quo. It was a good qualifying session here at Oulton Park. The clock is still ticking, which is surprising for me. But anyways, Timothy G in 10th place, then Lee, Ahmad, Lloyd, Josh, Andreas, Tommy, Vicente, then Vincent, Christopher, and Robert, setting the top 20 times. And there we go. Finally, the race has been reset, and Mike Noss is no longer floating around. That's a good sign.
Hopefully it stays that way. Let's go back down to the feed once again, folks.
There is actually a car that is floating around.
Pay no mind to the car floating. It'll get teleported, hopefully. As we get ready, Michael Chu in chat saying 2 minutes and not a single position change. What a dramatic race. As we go back to the host cams, folks.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Gotta love live TV, right, Mike?
You gotta love live TV, folks. You gotta love live TV.
If you don't, I don't know what you're doing here. We're doing our best, and so are the gentlemen at World of Racing, trying to get things sorted. I think it's just because there is a car that keeps on spawning in midair on the race start, and that's what's going on.
Yeah, I think, yeah, maybe. Yeah, it definitely seems to be an issue with the track. That much I will agree with. I think everything's good simulator-wise, obviously. It's, I think, maybe just a mod problem here, but we're fixing it, folks, as we fix it. I mean, yeah, that's what we can do. We're trying to get into the server here. Hopefully they're not already green flag running. Nope, they're not. In fact, they're about to be very, very shortly. In that case, let's try this again, folks. Let's get into it. Back down to the action, and immediately 6 red lights are coming on. Andrew Janis on pole position, David alongside, and we are green, green, green for real this time. And it's a solid start for Christian down to the inside here of the first corner. He's going to be contesting through the old hall, but has to back out. Behind that, Bradley runs off the circuit briefly, but it looks like Timothy not able to contend. Side by side, 3 abreast from Donovan, Timothy, and Ali, as it's going to be a menage a trois, but Timothy looks like he'll seal that position ahead of Ali. This time the shoe being on the other foot, but Ali says, no, 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 I'm not done yet. On the run down to the Shell Oil corner. Is Ali gonna pull the trigger? He gets a free position there, as that's gonna be Donovan running off the circuit and sliding like a slip and slide. Ali to the inside of the oil corner, gets it done onto Timothy. Up ahead, Christian side by side with Andrew Janis, who fell down. David took the lead, and into Britain's Christian finds himself in P2.
Amazing battling here on the opening laps, in the 55 of Andrew goes a little bit too deep and into the grass and tumbles into the rock barriers, and another driver does the same there on lap 1 and tumbles down the order. That'll probably be Bradley who tumbled down the order. And side by side coming into the second chicane now, the 07 leads the 62, and is it going to be 3 wide? The 55 sticking its nose in there. That's Andrew on his recovery drive trying to climb back up some position.
Certainly will be. He's got a long road ahead of him, but right now, Ahmad side by side with Josh, is everywhere you look. We have some action. Josh should be able to secure this through Druids. It's an easy corner to make a move if you're already to the inside. Up ahead, Ali making moves onto Timothy as well. This is going to be the move to the Lodge corner. Can he make it stick, though? He didn't get the entrance. In fact, a little bit hesitant here. Ali maybe just trying to wait for the first corner, where that's going to be the best chance to actually go for the commitment. Although, looking at it here, he doesn't seem like he's hard-pressed to go, unlike Ahmad, who is currently full-send baseball, making moves over Josh. These two, certainly keep an eye on them, because they're going to be at each other's throat for the foreseeable future, just like this Ali and Timothy bout that we have going on. And through the run onto Cascades and to the straight of the through Lakeside, this is going to be move on through Shell Oil corner once more. Ali, is he going to commit this time?
Ali and Timothy set identical lap times in the qualifying session, 156.072, so that's why they're going to stay so close to each other on the racing tarmac right now. They're already 1 lap deep, and I imagine this is going to be going for another 14 minutes or so. This battle between the two of them, staying nose to tail. 36 trails behind the number 29, the green livery out in front.
This is why I love MX-5s everywhere you look. The long braking zone through Knickerbrook, and Daniel getting the move on to Christian. This fight, definitely another one to keep an eye on. And David, only 9/10 away. Now, I'd made the prediction that we were going to see Andrew Janis walk away with this race, but you called it, Sauger. It's himself. He's his biggest enemy, as it is often said. And he fell down the order once more, and with that recovery drive, nowhere to be seen up front. Daniel, though, has a new license plate, and it says Christian on it, and Christian, he wants to change that and be a nice new hood ornament.
Yeah, it looks like Daniel started out in P5 of this race, working their way forward into P2, side by side with Christian, the number 71, looking to the inside line, coming into turn 1. That'll be Old Hall corner. And then now it's a little bit of a bump in the rump there from the 56. into the 71 or vice versa. And unfortunately, the 56 tumbles down the order. That's Daniel's charge ending now.
Naughty from Christian, unfortunately. You hate to see it, to be honest. And plummeting, as you said, down the order there is going to be Christopher. And back on the circuit, he should be all right. Here, though, Timothy inheriting a podium position now. And with Ali all over his chuff into the oil corner. Again, Ali, very passive from what I've seen. He qualified very well in the previous race, but this time, not quite the greatest qualifying, and just really keeping his pace kind of locked in his in tongue-in-cheek right now, waiting to maybe let it go a little bit later.
Well, I think he knows that he's got a podium contention working out for him right now. He's just got to bide his time. He knows that battling it out so early on in this race will result in him not getting that podium spot working out for him in his favor. If he manages to work with Timothy out in front, and there goes Andrew tumbling and falling, coming through Knickerbrook, it looks like. Ouch.
Oh my, rejoin Tim G nearly gets clattered into the shadow realm. Holy smokes, Tim G and Andrew, I think, coming together on this lap. Now, Tim G getting thrown into the line of fire immediately by Lee and Donovan. Has to keep an eye on his rear bumper. They go side by side. Donovan making moves, but he's not making the move that he would like to, as he wants to get by Tim G ASAP. Right now, though, Tim G is going to be trying to get that hurry up back on and move that car forward, but without a slipstream, without a helping hand, it's so difficult. And now the pressure moving into the first corner. This is going to be potentially advantage to Donovan. In fact, it's well over speed for Donovan, and Tim G left with his jaw on the floor and his car facing the wrong direction. Gutting for Tim G on lap 3.
Battle for the lead as well. David and Christian inverting their positions side by side, coming through the island bend now and into Shell's oil corner. Christian is super late on the brakes coming into Shell's oil, and will he be able to hold around the outside? I don't think so. David's going to have the inside going into the chicane now, but will it be enough? Inside turning into the outside. Holy smokes, Christian drifting it on entry, manages to keep the grip underneath him, and somehow the car remains balanced. The number 71 inherits the lead of the race.
That is massive for Christian at this stage. 10 minutes to go, though, and David keeping that 8/10 gap. He needs to close that back up if he wants to keep in the money. The run here from Ali, potentially no, he's a little too far behind. It's Andrew to keep an eye on. You knock him off the saddle and he just gets right back on the horse. Every time we look, he's falling down the order and then climbing back up. It's like a ladder, a yo-yo here for Andrew. Tim G, also after that contact, he has recovered back into 14th position. Not where he would want to be after that stellar qualifying effort that he put forth earlier on. This time, he's going to have to settle right now for a battle with Andreas, who's also very out of position, down in 15th position.
And Daniel's worked his way back up from 10th spot all the way up into 5th now. The number 56 did a very good job after that earlier issue with Christian earlier on, going through turn 1 Old Hall corner where he got spun off, and he's back to where he started finally. Battled for the leader right now is in between David and Christian, 3/10 separating them. And now Timothy and Ali are all brought into this. We might not get one, but two amazing finishes tonight, as we got 8 minutes and 45 seconds left on the clock.
I was going to say that myself. We had a 3-way fight for the lead in the previous race. Now we got 4, which is going to make this just that a little bit more dramatic, potentially. David takes the lead over Christian. That wasn't too hard fought. I don't think Christian is too upset about that right now. Still with 8.5 minutes to go. Plenty of slipstream games to be played. This is sort of a psychological battle they're going to be playing with each other in who wants to lead when. And of course, who is going to be leading on that final lap is the question we're asking ourselves. Christian getting a little bit better of a run than David through Britain's, but almost having to take his nose off the barrier there and went very, very hot through into Knickerbrook. No real semblance of a move, and really keeping an eye now on Timothy and Ali. I don't think Ali has any intent on making the move forced onto Daniel unless he sees an opportunity for a 2-for-1. He's gonna be just waiting like a lion on the hunt in the Serengeti, in the bushes for his best chance, and this could lead up to it. Christian looked into the inside of Druids onto David, but does not find the daylight. Back now to the final corner. This looks like it's going to be boiling on to the next lap.
Yeah, really good look there from Christian into the inside line, but that inside look was also very defensive at the same time to keep Timothy at bay. I thought that was very clever of him to make that look and also defend at the same time. Very smart to not leave himself too compromised going into Druids. Very, very wise words from Christian as he goes a little bit wide onto the grass fault there and almost runs into the back of David, who has a huge wiggle coming in through turn 1. And now through turn 2, the avenues, Denton's, and then cascades. It's single file line for all the drivers.
David is dealing with more pressure than a submarine right now, but currently Timothy is the one trying to make the move. This is going to be the outside line of Shell Oil Corner. It'll be the inside for the kink leading up to it, and it's a mistake from Christian. He runs off circuit, manages to get it back on track, though, very quickly. No, he might have had contact with a barrier. Oh, Christian almost kept it together, but Daniel does get by. That almost allowed Ali in a semblance of a move there, as we saw a mistake from Timothy, but this is what David needed, or is it? The slingshot of the century as Timothy fires himself out of Britain's like a cannon, and David is left with nothing to do, side by side defending from Ali, but that is Timothy the Bandit taking the lead.
And being in the lead going down a straightaway is seemingly the worst position to be in. We saw that in race number 1 tonight, and now during race number 2, where it's almost being the same thing. David, whenever he's in the lead going down a straightaway, it seems to never work out in his favor. Side by side between David and Ali, the number 58 holds off Ali's defensive maneuvers. The number 36, the orange liveried car, is just resting in third place right now, right where he finished race number 1.
I have to say, I really like this driving from Ali. He's being very strategic, but is he being overly strategic? You mentioned that, actually, that he finished third in race 1. Was that because of a little bit of discretion? Now, obviously, he could have finished in 20th in race 1 if he didn't have that discretion, but maybe, just maybe, he could have finished in 2nd. And this is what he's going to be asking himself right now. Where do I make this move? And do I make this move on this lap? Do I make it in the next one? What is the plan here for the 36? Because David, he's also thinking the exact same thing. In Timothy, though, starting to walk away. 1.1 seconds is the gap.
Wow, that is pretty big in just one lap's time. And that means that over the next couple of minutes going through the rest of this race, that'll be a 2 or 3 second gap going towards the end of the race right now. And that is absolutely huge. Ali's going to have to put the hurry up and go down David's throat to get him to chase back up to Timothy's rear end. And the number 29 might just escape with this one. And where did Timothy start in this race? He started in... Holy smokes, he started so down on the list. 7th position. Wow, that's a lot of positions gained for Timothy already.
Yeah, not a bad effort by any stretch of the imagination. I just wanted to take a look down at this Kai Lloyd battle with a front marker, back marker. I don't know who that is, but they're certainly not where they want to be right now, I'll tell you that. We'll take a look back at that lead battle very, very shortly. Do not worry, folks, as it is going to get quite dramatic, I sense, in the next couple laps. Just also want to pay mind here, this is Ahmad and Tim G, Mr. Consistent and Timothy at their... well, currently battling for 13th, not where they would want to be. Look to the lead, though, because David has a run on to the final corner into the the old, or excuse me, not the old hall, into the lodge corner, through Deer Leap. He almost leaps himself straight off the track, but through the brush onto the tarmac. He keeps his foot in it, and David trying to contend now. The inside line, it'll be the favorable run through Old Hall corners, and Andrew with the fastest lap as well. Keep that in your mind. David, though, still defending, but now the inside for Denton's, but it's going to be the outside potentially here for Cascades. David needs to try and keep that momentum, not run off the track. He doesn't. He keeps it clean, and he keeps the momentum for the lead of this race, but with that, back markers potentially on this lap as well. There's a car just up ahead, and that is not going to be lost on David's mind, but currently he is firmly glued with his eyes locked on that rear view mirror because Timothy looking every which way. There's that back marker that I mentioned. That makes pretty easy work of them, to be completely honest. And Ali strategically waiting here, but look what all of this strategery has done, Sauger. Now Daniel and Andrew have joined the conversation, and we're gonna have one lap of a five-way fight.
I thought we were in for a treat during race one with a three-way squabble for the remaining podium positions, but now this side-by-side between Daniel and Ali. Who will it be? Ali's really trying to put on the defensive, but the number 56 has the inside line for Knickerbrook, and Ali goes a little bit too far off and wide there into the grass. He loses 2 for 1. Daniel and Andrew end up going side by side. Now the 56 and the 55 together, and so are the leaders of this race, and holy smokes, that is a lot of damage for the two leaders, and that's never the way we wanted it to end. And there we go, commentary cursing ourselves. We were in for a treat for the five-way battle, but all this, Mr. Ali still holds on to third place in race number 2.
And Andrew now back in the lead after plummeting down the order. Absolute drama. That's how I said it was going to end. I didn't think it would be that dramatic, though, with the two leaders hitting each other out and dropping their positions into 5th and 6th, respectively. The lead battle, though, not done. Daniel and Andrew and Ali now. But Ali, you mentioned in third. He somehow still is in third after the fact that he was in third at the beginning of all of this, but he's falling off. 1.2 seconds is the gap. But if Andrew and Daniel keep at it for this lap, it's going to be game on potentially in the final sectors. Andrew covers the inside for Shell Oil, but the momentum for Daniel here going to run his opponent out wide into the braking zone, though. Andrew smartly picked his line. He knew he would have the momentum, and he knew he would have the favorable line through the corner. Now Daniel thinking about where he's going to make his next look. This is the final lap. This is the last chance, the last semblance of an opportunity through Britain's, nice and tidy. Get a good run potentially down through Hilltop and into the Hislop chicane. This is the last chance, really. Andrew just has to keep it under wraps for a few more corners down into the braking zone. Not even a real semblance of a defense. He knows that he has the momentum. He knows he has the run. But Druids, the last potential chance now. Back markers getting involved as well. Will that spell the dramas that we saw in the last lap? Now, the final few corners. One sector to go. Andrew Janis just has to hang on. Daniel, what do you do in his shoes? Is it going to be the lodge corner? Is it going to be a potential side-by-side finish here? This has to be it. The final braking zone into lodge corner and through Deer Leap. Andrew Janis in the 55 has no threat, no competition, and he is going to take the victory over Daniel and Ali, finishing in third.
Great finish for Ali, and great job keeping his nose clean from all that damage between David and Christian. And Christian and David 4th and 5th place. Then Timothy, at the line. Timothy crosses the line in front of David. Then Donovan, Lee, Andreas, and Vicente. That'll round out your top 10.
And looks like potential side-by-side battles still. That's what you gotta love about MX-5s. It looks like they were so close that Timothy must have overtaken him by thousandths of a second there, because the in-game timing charts didn't even have time to update. It just changed the position. That is where it froze the frame. That's how close those two were. Timothy and David giving it their all to the checkered flag, but it was Andrew, Daniel, and Ali to secure the podium, which for Daniel now, is going to be his third podium. I'm pretty sure it's the second podium of the night and third podium overall. So Daniel maybe becoming the new Mr. Consistent.
I don't know. My boy Ali's done very well in this championship and very well overall. 2 third-place finishes for him, and that's pretty darn consistent if I do say so myself.
Certainly is. Let's head back to the booth here, as we are going to be, of course, just giving our final words here on the races that we had tonight. And welcome back, everybody. Hope everyone enjoyed that action. I certainly did. From the word go, it was absolute excitement, chaos, carnage, and calamity in the most glorious and spectacular way possible. And it ended in tears for some, but it also ended in tears of joy for others, which is the way racing goes, Sauger, and I couldn't have drawn it up any other way.
No, absolutely. From Andrew's descent down the timing tower and climb back up, from David and Christian's battle earlier on, as well as Timothy's climb at the very last opportunity. Donovan Lee, Andreas Vicente, not to be forgotten about either, but that battle for the top 10 was awfully very close as well. Great battling. Love the MX-5s. Love World of Racing for what they do. You guys are putting on a wonderful show for us. Thank you very much for all this lovely entertainment.
Absolutely. And if you are a viewer here tonight, first off, a big thank you to our chatters. I know we have a new chatter as well that I recognize. Bipolar Capybara. I love the name. Absolutely incredible. Now, if you guys are in the area of Tustin or Pasadena or Kansas City, Kansas, and you're looking to get involved in some sim racing, do head on down to World of Racing. Give it a nice little Google and find yourself down and using some of the top-of-the-line equipment, from the Sigma Interglade motion simulators to the Hussenfeld pedals to the Simicube wheel and base that is provided. You can go down and have anything from a race session to a hot lapping session to a full-on coaching session, I guess. Multiple sessions as well are available. And do head on down, check it out. World of Racing is an absolute hoot of a time. There's race nights on Wednesdays, league nights on Wednesdays now. Race nights on Thursdays and Mondays now to boot. So plenty of action at your local World of Racing, your local motion simulator hub. And of course, with that, Sauger, we are going to be concluding here tonight. We'll be back as well for the Thursday night race. I'm pretty sure we'll be back as well for the Sebring 2.4, I think, coming up very shortly. But in the meantime, folks, I hope everybody has a lovely evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever you are in this fine world. Thank you, and good night.